Hi everyone, here's a video to help you with measuring angles of rotation. There's a lot of confusion about this on the last quiz, so I want to give you all an opportunity to revise those answers after you've watched this video. So how are we going to measure the angle of rotation here? Let me read the problem. It says triangle A prime, B prime, C prime is the image of triangle ABC under a rotation around point P. What is the angle of rotation? Folks, this is saying that if you have a pre-image, ABC, and you rotate it around point P, which is, hello, P, okay, and it lands here, A prime, B prime, C prime. That's the image of the pre-image after it got rotated. So how far did it get rotated? And which way did it get rotated? You've got to think about both of those things. So this, let's take a look. I can measure this angle two different ways. One way I could measure it is I could do this little angle, right? A little acute angle, or about a right angle, right? Looks like it's about a right angle. Or I could measure this big, called a reflex angle. If we go over 180 degrees, I can measure around that way, right? Notice either way I measure it, I'm starting at this guideline where I connect to point A, okay? On the first problem of the quiz, I put the guidelines in there because you kind of need to think about those when you are measuring an angle. And if I didn't put the guidelines in, you can draw them in, okay? Because that is really you kind of got to draw the angle to figure out what the angle of rotation is. Some of us can think it without drawing it, but a lot of us will need to draw that in there. Okay, so I've drawn in the angle, and notice it goes from A to A prime. Okay, you want to go from a point on the pre-image to a corresponding point on the image. It could have been from B to B prime or C to C prime. Those also would work. All right, so I'm looking at two possible measurements, right? If I did this little measurement here, that would be my 82 degrees, right? That's about 82 degrees. Well, those are my only options. Right, so in here, 82. Why won't you type? There we go. All right, if I'm measuring around outside, that must be the 278, right? Because it's way over 180. That must be 278 degrees. So which one is it, right? So now we've got to think about, okay, well, which direction am I measuring? Now you're allowed to measure clockwise or counterclockwise. That's fine either way, but you have to measure from the pre-image to the image when you do it. So I'm going to start, when I measure my angle, I'm going to start on the side of the angle that's connecting to point A. And notice when I go to A prime across this acute angle, I'm actually going clockwise, right? If I think about the direction of a clock, it goes from 12 to 1 to 2, right? Clockwise is that way. If you look at that blue arrow, that's exactly the direction it's going. It's 82 degrees clockwise. If I look at the 278 degree arrow, that angle measurement, now that's going the opposite way of the clock, right? It's going this way. That is counterclockwise. So CCW, I would abbreviate that. So my best answer here is 278 degrees counterclockwise. So having watched this, my advice for you is if you're retaking this quiz, draw in the guidelines for the arrow. You want to connect a point on the pre-image to the center of rotation. Connect the corresponding point on the image to the center of rotation. Think about which way the angle can go. Generally, there's going to be a shorter measurement and a longer measurement. And of the ones that are provided, only one's going to match. Now, if I think on one of them, I did not put a direction. Remember, if there's no direction stated, it's counterclockwise. All right. So hopefully this helps. I'd love to see you do a better job on those quizzes. Let me know if you have questions about anything.